authenticity. I think that's the word. I could be showing up with pseudocreme on. But you know what? I got some parcels and my skin is not skinning, as we know. Right, we'll do the small one. iHerb is absolutely, it takes a while from the UK. It's obviously from the US, and it's where I get some of my health supplementation from. As we know, I'm on a hormonal journey. So from the beautiful iHerb, we got a lot of L-theanine, because this, if you haven't heard me talk about it, really helps me in the evening. It really helps me. I find a massive difference. I was on ashwagandha for quite a while, and when you're so busy doing multiple things, running multiple businesses, this really works. So this works for me, and I got literally 4 of those. And then I also got Prenaglo, can't say it, but anyway, I need to start taking that for her health supplementation, and I decided to proceed to get 4 of them because it takes so long from the US. I literally cannot wait. Anyway, this big box, by the way, excuse the hand if you get grossed out, I'm not going to show it, but I burnt my hand on cream of rice yesterday. So if you don't know, I'm not an athlete through Trained by JP, I'm an ambassador. So the difference between an athlete and an ambassador is an athlete can get products for free, etc., I believe. And an ambassador is, if you use my code, then I can spend that money on my own supplementation, which is fabulous. But I already bought from Trained by JP anyway, so it got me some money off, but I still spent, I think, like £140, £150. To be fair, I'm just grateful for anyone that uses my code, and to even be recognised by such a pivotal, like probably the best, one of the best brands in the world. And it's just me, like, I'm in shock. Anyway, this massive box that I'm not going to lift again has a few restocks, to be fair. So we got vital support that way. Health supplementation is so essential, and if you look at the profile on here, it's just second to none. So we got 2 vital supports, and we also got 2 love hearts. And if you actually read it, it's got patented ingredients. They put so much work into their ingredient profile in their products. It's just, you can't really question it. It's absolutely fantastic. And then what's making this box so heavy is, if anyone knows me, they know how much I love cream of rice. So I got 2, I was going to change flavours, but I've tried near enough all of them at this point, but there's a few I haven't. I got chocolate fudge, and I also got another triple chocolate. So I'm stacked, ready and rocked and ready to go. It's so important with health supplementation. The amount of people I speak to in the gym, outside the gym, you can spend all your money on clothes, for example, but if you don't look after what's going on internally, and this is what I speak about to so many people, you don't actually know. And until, I literally can't take myself seriously, I'm gonna have to talk like this. If you don't know, I work also with Medichecks, and I was using Medichecks for 5, 6, 7 years before I started working with them, and they're a private blood test clinic, well, service, I think service is the correct way to call it, and they really help you see what's going on with your bloods. And yes, in the UK specifically, we have the National Health Service, which does a fantastic job, but sometimes, for example, with myself, they don't show all the markers. So for example, with a thyroid reading, you want to see free thyroxine, T3, T4, TSH. There's a lot of thyroid markers, but if you go to the NHS, sometimes they don't read all of that. So it's really important that you do invest into your health the same way that you invest into other areas of your life. And that's why, yeah, it can seem absurd that I'm spending this much money or doing all of this, but I really do value my health. And being autoimmune, it's something that I've always had to value my health. I've been on supplementation like vitamin C and D since I was like 10, so it's really important for me to try and be as optimal as possible, not just for bodybuilding but also for my health and for my life. And I do have someone very, very close to me with dementia, and I know what, you know, if we can try and prevent it. That's why I love working with Trained by JP, because you see their studies come out on their Instagram, and they were speaking about the health benefits of creatine with the neurological benefits that could help try to reduce dementia. And for me, that's so important, and especially because it's so close to my heart, it's something that I really, really do want to encourage. So this is just what I brought, and I hope it's a good insight to say I do take my health quite seriously. And please excuse the face, but this is the reality. And if you have any questions around health supplementation or anything like that, my DMs are always open, because I knew knew when I got started, there was so much and there's so much information out there. It's kind of like information overload. So it can make you feel like there's too much, but always know my DMs are open. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments down below and we'll continue with this vlog. Setting up Face ID was actually really easy. So from the new iPhone, we are setting up. So I'm going to hide my surname. It says finish on your new iPhone, and then we are setting it up. So I'm super excited for this, to be honest. But let's see what the new iPhone is. On first glance, it's a little bit bigger than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And I'm going to click this. Right, now we're going to get on the fun bit. Wowza, I look rough. The skin is skinny. That's why we had pseudocreme on. So what you saw this morning was part of my morning routine, and it generally stays the same every single day. I get up, walk to the gym, do my first session, which is abs, cardio, steps, come back, and I always listen to a podcast. One thing about me is I want to continually learn. So while I'm on the treadmill, I always read 2 to 3 chapters of a non-fiction book. Then on the way back and in my morning, when I'm doing my morning walk and like just general work, I will listen to a podcast. Now this can range from Mel Robbins to Diary of a CEO to anything bodybuilding related, just so I'm continually learning. And that's something that is really, really important to me and really, really important just to my morning routine. So once I've done that, I'll clean up anything that needs to be cleaned up, and then I'm straight into my second work block of the day. And that is so important for me to stay in routine. I have found now, especially through the last few months, it is harder to get up in the morning, but knowing I have a structured routine really helps. So my morning routine does set me up. Now, unlucky enough to wake up with a surge of cortisol like most people. That means I am most productive in the first half of the day. So I try to utilize that first half of the day by making sure I'm doing all my hard tasks at work, thinking, deep work, anything that needs to be done. Because for me, that's the most important element. And especially when you are working corporate, working other businesses, it's so important to make sure that you have that deep work. And for me, it's so important to make sure that my morning routine sets me up for the rest of the day. So if you need to know anything else about my morning routine, let me know, but I've generally nailed it now. Summer or winter kind of stays the same, doesn't vary. And by the way, this divider really helps me because I work in a living room, so if I divide the room up, I know that I have to go in and out of this, and it actually does work. I've been using it for the last 6-7 months. Oh, by the way, my doctor friend told me I scolded my hand, so now I have to change it's just not pretty. So I didn't sleep very well, hence the puffy eyes, but that's okay. We're going to crack on with the day. I just thought I'd check in, and when I get my next break at work, I will check in with yourselves. Some damage. So I promised myself I wouldn't be buying jelly cats, but this one was so hard to get. And oh, it's actually, I've never bought one from Phoenix. This is packaged really nicely. Look at this. So anyone that knows me knows why I'm getting this bear, because it reminds me of someone, but it is so nice, nicely packaged. I love the paper. Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. It's so soft. It is so cute and so soft. So I had to get the bear with the bathrobe because this literally just sums my life up. It's so cute. Thank you for choosing Phoenix. I do like Phoenix. They've got a few stores, but this one was really hard. And then one day I'm lying in bed, right? And then I'm just scrolling through, and like, I know it's out of stock everywhere, and it just said in stock. Right, that was it, buy. I've never bought something so quick. Please tell me why I keep buying jelly cats. I cannot tell you, but you know, me and my little jelly cat. I'm gonna not buy any more for a little bit. Right, so we finally set up the new iPhone, and I see massive differences. So first impressions is the camera quality is so much better, and that is inevitably going to happen when I upgrade my phone. But I genuinely can see such a difference. And also the battery, how did I only just charge my phone? You can't see that, but I literally probably charge it every 2 days, and obviously when you use your phone for work, you want it to last. So it's been a few days and I've settled into the new iPhone, and I also understand why I was just feeling really watery. And for the last few weeks, well, about a week, 10 days, and I just couldn't understand what was going on. And it was because I came on my period. And that also explains why my face was just, but my Oura ring, funny enough, it did tell me that I had a raise in body temperature, and I was just kind of ignoring it. But I just thought it could be the time of year, I could be getting ill. But then I realised I was actually coming on my period, which makes a lot of sense. It makes a sense why I was just feeling really watery and really heavy. Scale weight was up, my face was inflamed, but generally I feel much better. I think most females can agree, as soon as you start your cycle, you just feel like a sense of relief. But training's been really good. Training has been absolutely phenomenal. I have been really focusing on making sure that I can be maximizing my sessions, especially with this slight increase in food. Right now, if you haven't watched one of my full days of eating, make sure that you watch it. But I generally have been trying to absolutely smash my sessions and give as much to my sessions as possible. And that's something that I think I always give a lot to my sessions, but now I feel like I'm giving a different unlocked potential, if that's the thing. And it's also really interesting to see how my body is responding. I feel a lot fuller and I feel a lot stronger, which I suppose is a really good thing. I make sure that I always film my sets, review my sets. The same goes with most elements of my life. I think it's really important as a person that you continue to develop and continue to evolve, and that's something that I think is so important. As a person, I always want to be continually learning and striving for better, even more, showing up for this YouTube even when some days are really busy. Like, I've been sat at my laptop for the best part of a few hours, and I just know that it's going to eventually go into fruition. And I think that when you're balancing multiple things, it's also really important that your time management, which is something I'm actually thinking to film a video on, is up to scratch. And I get a lot of clients say to me, oh, I'm super busy, how do you balance it all? And to be honest with you, it's all about making sure that you're efficient with your time, and that I don't really have wasted time. And this is something that I was speaking about with a therapist, and this is why I did start to read, because I'm super efficient to the point where sometimes I actually forget to take that time out for myself, which I suppose it does need to be worked on, but I don't really see it as a negative because I love getting up every day. But at the same time, I do go through peaks and troughs like anyone else, and I think if anyone shows up every day on the internet and says that they're having an absolutely dandy time, it doesn't reflect who they are. And sometimes I feel like you're putting in all this work and you're not seeing it come to fruition. But I really did read Big Sean's book, and if you've not read it, it is so good. I'll tell you the name of it now, because by the way, I always track everything on my Goodreads, because we know that I read a lot, like an absurd amount apparently. It Go Higher, 5 practices for purpose, success and inner peace. And it was so good. It was a mix of business, philosophy, life lessons, a different take of a biography. It was very inspirational, it was very inspiring. He spoke about his relationship with Kanye and Jay-Z, and it really just opened my eyes, and I really did enjoy it. And every morning, it has to be Monday to Thursday, sometimes a Friday, I read minimum 1 chapter, and on a Monday I feel like I have to catch up, so I read 2, but read 1 or 2 chapters of a non-fiction book, and I've always done that. I took a break over the summer because I think it was important that I wasn't just constantly absorbing, and there was a time that I just read non-fiction and I consumed so much of it that I then moved into fiction. I believe it was last year or the year before. So my fiction book at the moment, which we need to talk about, and I'm sorry if you're not about the book content, but I definitely am, A Court of Silver Flames. This is the ACOTAR series, I think it's called. It is the best one. It's book number 4 in the series. I can't say anything bad about the series. Sarah J Maas. Do you know what? There were times I got lost. There were times after book 1 and 2. No, 1 was good. 2, I got a bit lost, and I had to make sure that I was reading a summary or a recap at the end, because I was just so lost with what was going on. I needed to make sure I was recapping and actually understanding what I was reading. But it was so good. It is so good. I've got literally, I think, 5% left because I read on a Kindle. Being dyslexic, I struggle to read books because the words just go all around. But as soon as I got the Kindle, I found a font that it doesn't matter what book I'm reading, it will remain the same font, which means that I can read a lot better. And I read on the treadmill, I read on the train, I read basically anywhere I get a chance. It is such a good series, and for someone that can't well, for the best part of 10 years, couldn't draw a picture in my head. And that's why I struggled to read fiction, because I couldn't draw these stories. Fantasy always really overwhelmed me, and YA fantasy, being young adult fantasy, is something that I have incorporated. So Heartless Hunter or Crimson Moth, depending on where you are in the world. That is a really good series, and I know that the new book's just been released, the third one. But this particular series was absolutely phenomenal, and for someone that does get overwhelmed with fantasy, there were parts that I did get lost, but I did really enjoy it. High fantasy is a subgenre of, now I'm going into complete, one second, let me, now I'm going into complete different territory, but high fantasy is basically really tough fantasy to read, but YA fantasy is a little bit easier digestible, and I am really enjoying it. And especially in these colder, darker months, I know that the sun's greatly shining through right now, it can feel a little bit like we have not a lot to look forward to. And I know that for myself, reading really does help, and it's something that I've always incorporated. Anyway, that was the longest ramble of the universe. I hope that you enjoyed this little mini vlog. I'm going to continue them. I was thinking about it and I was like, it's a lot of work, but I actually really do enjoy them. So make sure you give this video a like, make sure you give this video a subscribe, and the next video will be coming next week. If there is anything that you want to see, please leave it in the comments down below. My Instagram, my TikTok, all my links are always below. And if you have any questions about the supplements that I spoke about, any questions about supplements that you should be taking, make sure you give me a message. I can't believe I came on camera with my pseudocreme, but you know what? We're showing up as our authentic self. Apart from that, I hope you have a bright and beautiful day.